just showing the background and trying to do a podcast. And your family was like, yeah, I understand you're doing the podcast, but we still need you. Because somehow...
His body broken. My body broken.
Yeah. I lay on the scale, you gotta glow. You gotta glow. She had my attention, she gotta know. She gotta know. Said to be every friend, we gotta go.
But to welcome everyone to another episode of the Let's Get Podcast. I'm your host Zeke. In this episode, I will be doing a solo podcast, another solo podcast to talk about what I'm thinking about so far. You can find this podcast on all major platforms, including YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, by clicking the link in the description below or going to allmylinks.com/Let's Get a Pod. Please rate it 5 stars. I hope you continue to have a nice day, and I hope to see you there. So, another What Am I Thinking episode. This is pretty much due to a last minute change I had in the schedule, and I decided to continue talking about what's going on. So, what's been going on? Just in the middle of season 3. Not in the middle, just heading towards the middle. Just glad to almost be done with a full year podcasting. Grown a lot, changed a lot, become an authority in this space, but has definitely become a player. Someone who has a stake and is going to improve. Recently, I was a guest on a 2D podcast hosted by 2 Pratt Institute students who were studying animation. Video game system with the PlayStation 1, even though I was born after the PlayStation 1 came out, which is funny. In terms of animation, I would say my favorite is more Japanese animation style, because it's just anime and like the shonen genre as a whole. And then watching that as I grew up and just staying consistent is really what really got me into it. Even though I did watch like American cartoons, like Arthur and stuff like that, I think anime is really what drove it in for me.
That's interesting. Were you also into in manga, the other form of Japanese media? Were you into that as well?
I had like middle school, like 6th grade. I got like a lot of mangas, but it turns out that's like more costly. So I'm more of like a visual person. Because like visual audio, watching it.
Okay, I get that. So it's interesting that you said you started off with a PS1, even though it's like that's more like a mid '90s thing. Would you in terms of like how that affected? That was a cool experience, being on the other side of the camera, not have to worry about editing and everything, just speaking, answering questions. I feel like I'm getting better at that. That was something I've always felt that was a weakness. I'm better at interpersonal skills, but like panels and stuff like that had to work on. And yeah, just a couple things we want to do is do more collabs, more just exploration into different things. But being a guest also give me time. Also one of the things where it's funny how you can see whatchamacallit? There's one time we had like an argument or discussion, and then you think about answers you just said afterwards. Yeah, that happened. It was funny. I'm just like, should have said that. Oh well. We just in the moment what you was thinking. And you guys got me here for another 15 minutes. Well, whole 15 minutes just thinking about what to say. What to do. In other news, finally got that website finished. That was a pain. The transcribe each discussion, but it's for those who are hearing impaired and for SEO. Let's see if it works out. You check out letsgetapodcast.com to see what's up. See some clips. In other news,
gaming about to head into the next generation with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. I'm gonna wait. Granted, because of money, but also because consoles always are broken in the beginning. There's always glitches, and then they get fixed later in the console lifespan. So let's see. I had my finger on the Target purchase. So I was like, nah, it's cost too much money to buy a PS5. It does. And I was like, nope. Let me wait. Did you wait? I wonder how people waited. I wonder how that transition is going to be with everything, with the pandemic. And people losing jobs and money. I wonder what's going to be the outcome. But I also wonder, one thing about gaming is that the day that it becomes super realistic, that I can't tell the difference between life and gaming, the day I quit, because I can't. I've seen so many movies, I'm just like, let's not decide to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I'll stay in the real world. I don't feel like getting stuck in and then being like an exception, and I just kind of forget what's reality and what's not. Like, I like the distinction that we have right now. This is this is that. And I wonder what to do after that. Like, what to do when gaming becomes real life, and how will we respond to that? Because in that gaming, you can still tell it's like, oh, it looks realistic, but you can tell, like, yeah, it's still a game. Oh no, you can hear the beating. But even then, just gaming in general. I remember early 2000s with the PlayStation 2, I'm like, this would be the best thing ever. And then like early NBA Live. Like NBA Live, I was the one trying to trick people like, yeah, I'm watching the game. Like, no, you're watching the video game. Like, no, it's a real game. And then with VR and everything, be like, we can virtually put ourselves into the game. That would be dope. And it's just like, getting too close to real life. And from the last time I did, what am I thinking? That pretty much the NBA season finished. Glad nobody got sick. Everything was well. LeBron James won his fourth ring, his fourth MVP. Congratulations to the Lakers. I feel like the Lakers are the all-time greats. I mean, I know that they had the Minneapolis Lakers win 5 in 10 years, and then the Celtics ruled the 60s. And then so Lakers won in the 70s. I think the Celtics won a couple in the 70s. And then the Lakers 5 versus 3 in the 80s. And then the 90s, Jordan took over. And then 2000s, it was the Lakers with the 3-peat, and then the Celtics, and then the Lakers again with the 2-peat, and now Lakers again. I feel like they had the most dominance in the modern era from like the 80s and up till now. Granted, always had a great center with the great guard, Jerry West and Will Chamberlain, Magic, Kareem, Kobe and Shaq, Kobe and Gasol, now LeBron and AD. it's something to think about. So I feel like, yeah, all-time Lakers, like the best team. And looking forward to the next, for me, looking at the next evolution of the podcast. Just growing more, getting more listeners, becoming better at editing and animating, and just adding more tools to the tool belt of the podcast. Yeah. It's fun doing streaming content. It's just so hard to think for so long and to keep up. But it's fun to just talk. Nobody around, nobody to listen. Just gonna interrupt me, you don't want to talk. Now I'm gonna keep it in because you're interrupting me and just wasting time.
You can't bend. I'm trying to bend. I need that broken frying pan. Can't find it.
So I'm just gonna add this to the podcast and waste the last 5 minutes. Because talking for 15 is hard, just like talking for 20. And now I'm getting the frying pan. Just showing the background and trying to do a podcast. And your family was like, yeah, I understand you're doing the podcast, but you know, we still need you. Because somehow...
His body broken. My body broken. I need you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like I'm not the person who always get injured like everybody says, but somehow I keep bouncing back.
This little injury is minor.
But you know...
Wait, I just looked for that. I was just down there.
Yeah, this is the mother. Remember how... Yeah, see how...
That's why I was just down there. I had the small one, the medium one.
Just the savior of the family. Back at it.
Well, thank God. I got you. Run out the bed.
Yep. But yeah, this was a fun little talk. What am I thinking? Part 2. What am I thinking again? Then I recently had a meme on the pod. Meme on TikTok where somebody was like every black character was pretty much the same, which is true. It was a black kid, brown skin, flat top. Then I was like, that's me. Then I picture myself, did pretty well. It wasn't like anything blow up, but got the most plays I ever got on TikTok. And I was like, on to something. Then that'll be my costume. Events the style for recess. But enough about me, more about you. What should I do next? What should be my next steps? Take all suggestions. Get all criticism to the bad. And trying to grow and learn. And to reiterate, I was a host. I was not the host, I was a guest on the 2D podcast, which you can find on YouTube and Spotify under 2D podcast. And you can find my episode under 2D podcast, episode 7, special guest Zeke Williams. Get to hear me talk about anime, video games, and all that good stuff, and teach a little about anime to some animators. So, that brings another episode of the Let's Get Podcast to a close. I'd like to thank myself for coming on my podcast again in the nick of time. For next week, I have Evan, who is an entrepreneur who is the CEO of Caffeine Marketing, to talk about his journey in marketing. I hope you continue to have a nice day, and I hope to see you there.